Hello there, good evening ladies and gentlemen. This is Al24 Midnight News coming to you live from the capital Algiers, and these are tonight's top stories. Describing the relations between Algiers and Ankara as strong and open to further cooperation, Algeria and Turkey signed the announcement of the second meeting of the High-Level Cooperation Council between the two countries, and President Tebboune and Erdogan supervised the signing of 13 agreements and memoranda of understanding. Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune emphasizes the necessity for condemnation to be backed by immediate actions to make those responsible for the Gaza genocide accountable. And Turkish President stresses that targeting civilians, hospitals and places of worship is barbarism and an absence of morality. Dozens of martyrs and wounded in the ongoing Zionist raids on Gaza Strip, resulting in more than 1,300 massacres that have left more than 14,100 martyrs since the start of the aggression, most of them women and children. Starting our news bulletin here from Algiers, President Abdelmajid Tebboune and his Turkish counterpart, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, signed the joint declaration of the second meeting of the High-Level Cooperation Council between the two countries on Tuesday, following the meetings that brought the two presidents together as part of the Turkish President's office visit to Algeria. The signing ceremony was held at the Algerian Presidency headquarters. The two presidents oversaw the proceedings of the second session of the Algerian-Turkish High-Level Cooperation Council. President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, and his Turkish counterpart, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, co-presided the signing ceremony of several cooperation agreements between Algeria and Turkey. These agreements and memorandums of cooperation that were signed at the Algerian presidential headquarters following talks between President Tebboune and his Turkish counterpart Erdogan include several sectors, most notably energy, foreign affairs, the banking sector, education, and others. Following the signing ceremony, Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune underlined that what is happening in Gaza is a human tragedy, stressing the right of the Palestinian people to establish that state on June 1967 borders. The Algerian President called for condemnation and denunciation to be associated with urgent action to stop the settlers' terrorism in the West Bank and to bring those responsible for the genocide in Gaza before the international criminal level.
قبل كل شيء نقيم تقييم إيجابي جدا ما قام به كل أصدقاء في مختلف الدول لما هبوا هبة واحدة بعد نداء الجزائر لأن يقدموا مسؤولي جرائم الحرب والتقتيل الجماعي إلى محكمة الجنايات الدولية. إذا مشكورين، وأعتقد أن لأول مرة منذ 75 سنة بعد ومن ارتكبوا هذه الجرائم يفلتون من العدالة، لأول مرة بالأقل سيكونوا يقفون أمام العدالة. من جهة أخرى احنا مثل ما قال أخي فخامة الرئيس أردوغان، نحن معا في محاولة إنقاذ ما يمكن إنقاذه حاليا.
Also, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune hailed the efforts of many countries and their response to Algeria's call to hold the Zionist entity accountable for its crimes against Palestinians in Gaza before International Criminal Court.
تطرقنا خلالها لملفات الملحة الحساسة، وعلى رأسها ملف الشرق الأوسط بكل أبعاده وتداعياته، وما يحدث منذ أسابيع في قطاع غزة من مأساة إنسانية جراء الجرائم البشعة التي يرتكبها الاحتلال الصهيوني وانعكاسات عدوان الاحتلال الصهيوني على الساحة الإقليمية والدولية. وأكدنا في هذا الخصوص على حق الشعب الفلسطيني في إقامة دولته المستقلة وعاصمتها القدس الشريف في حدود جوان 1967. كما جددنا التأكيد على ضرورة اقتران الاستنكار للسياسة والقمع الممنهجة ولجرائم الإبادة والتهجير القسري التي يقوم بها الكيان الصهيوني. أكدنا على ضرورة أن تقترن الإدانة والاستنكار بتحرك عاجل مع بعض يوقف التوسع الاستيطاني ويردع إرهاب المستوطنين الممارس ضد الفلسطينيين في الضفة، ويقود إلى محاسبة المسؤولين عن الإبادة في قطاع غزة أمام محكمة الجنايات الدولية.
Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, during the joint press conference with his counterpart Erdogan at the Algerian presidential headquarters, stressed that the Algerian-Turkish High-Level Cooperation Council, whose second session was held on Tuesday in Algeria, has become a strategic cooperation council, noting that Algerian-Turkish relations are strong and have an open horizons for further cooperation.
نقول وبكل ثقة وصدق بأنها علاقات قوية وذات آفاق مفتوحة على المزيد من التعاون نظراً للإرادة السياسية الصادقة في الجزائر وتركيا. ولدينا ديناميكية في التعاون الاقتصادي والتبادل التجاري الذي شهد تطوراً متزايداً في السنوات الأخيرة يعكسه حجم التبادلات التجارية، حيث بلغ أكثر من 5 ملايير دولار خلال سنة 2022 ويتجاوز 6 ملايير دولار في سنة 2023. واصبحنا بهذا مع أشقائنا الأتراك ثاني شريك تجاري في إفريقيا بالنسبة لتركيا، والوجهة الأولى للاستثمار التركي في إفريقيا.
Algerian president has also affirmed that convergence of views between Algeria and Turkey on international issues such as Niger, Mali and Western Sahara.
كما اغتنمنا هذه الفرصة لاستعراض المستجدات في منطقة الساحل على ضوء الأوضاع السائدة في النيجر وفي مالي، وتطرقنا إلى قضية الصحراء الغربية كذلك. وفي كل هذه الملفات سجلنا توافقاً في وجهات النظر واتفقنا على مواصلة المساعي المشتركة للمساهمة في استعادة الاستقرار لهذه البلدان الشقيقة وحفظ السلم والأمن في المنطقة وفي العالم.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, for his part, emphasized that there is no way out of the creation of a Palestinian state on 1967 border with East Al-Quds as its capital, calling the displacement of people in Gaza Strip and targeting of hospitals, houses of worship and schools barbaric and morally unacceptable.
We appreciate Algeria's determined stance on the Palestinian issue, which resonates in the conscience of both our countries. We do not accept in any way the Israeli attacks, which have turned into collective punishment and constitute war crimes, targeting places such as hospitals, places of worship and schools, which should be under protection under all circumstances, and forcing the population to migrate, is careless and barbaric. Our priority is to establish a ceasefire as soon as possible and to ensure the unhindered flow of humanitarian aid to the region.
Also, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that talks with his Algerian counterpart were fruitful, noting that adding a strategic dimension to the high-level Algerian-Turkish Cooperation Council represents a sign of the level that bilateral relations have reached, stressing that his expectation that the volume of trade exchange between the two countries will reach about $6 billion by the end of this year.
To reflect the current state of our cooperation, we have renamed the Council as the High-Level Strategic Cooperation Council, with the addition of the word strategic. This decision symbolizes the level our relations have reached and the strategic vision that supports our relations. Turkey and Algeria have centuries-old ties of friendship and brotherhood. We expect our trade volume, which reached a record high of $5.3 billion last year, to reach $6 billion by the end of this year. We will inshallah achieve soon the $10 billion trade volume goal we have set with my brother Abdelmajid Tebboune by increasing our efforts. I believe that the preferential trade agreement, the negotiations of which start with a joint declaration of intent signed today by our trade ministers, will help us.
And regarding the expected prisoner exchange agreement between the Zionist occupation and Hamas, Erdogan pointed out that the Turkish Foreign Minister and the head of the Turkish intelligence are following up on the matter jointly with Qatar, expressing his hopes for a positive result in this regard.
Talks are underway at the moment about the return of hostages. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs, our Director of National Intelligence are carrying out this process in a joint effort with Qatar. We hope we will soon get results with regard to prisoner exchange. We are in constant contact and we expect to get positive results.
Algerian Prime Minister Mr. Nadir Al-Arbawi said in his speech at the opening of the Algerian-Turkish Economic Forum that his basic mechanism for cooperation and partnership between Algeria and Turkey. Al-Arbawi stressed that the slogan of the second edition of the forum reflects the strong ambition of President Abdelmajid Tebboune and his Turkish counterpart, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, to establish a strategic partnership to attract investments and enhance trade exchanges. Algerian Prime Minister stressed that cooperation relations between Algeria and Turkey have witnessed a qualitative leap in recent years, especially after the exchange of presidential visits.
إن الشعار الذي يحمله المنتدى من أجل شراكة اقتصادية منتجة ومستدامة.
The slogan of the Forum for a Productive and Sustainable Economic Partnership truly reflects the strong ambition that you share, Your Excellency the President, with your brother, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, to establish a strategic partnership likely to attract investments and strengthen trade exchanges and encourage fruitful cooperation between Algerian and Turkish companies in a way that reflects the historic, deep-rooted relations of brotherliness that link the two sister countries. Cooperation relations between Algeria and sisterly Turkey have witnessed a qualitative leap in recent years, especially after the exchange of presidential visits.
Mr. Nadir Al-Arbawi praised the level of cooperation between Algeria and Turkey, stressing that enormous capabilities of the two countries and the favorable opportunities constitute a qualitative factor in creating an increasing volume of partnership between the two nations.
ولا يفوتني هنا السيد الرئيس أن أشيد عالياً.
I would like to highly praise, Mr. President, the level reached by economic cooperation between the two countries, in addition to the great potentialities and the many opportunities which constitute a qualitative element that increases the volume of partnership and bilateral trade in an equitable and balanced manner to reach the goal set by the two countries' leaders.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan stressed that Algeria and Turkey share a common will to enhance cooperation and deepen partnership. Mr. Erdogan indicated that Ankara will continue to facilitate the way for Algerian investors to increase their investment in Turkey.
We are following with appreciation Algeria's efforts under the leadership of my brother Abdelmajid Tebboune to mobilize its economic potential by diversifying its activities. Nearly 1,400 Turkish companies are supporting this process. We are proud that our companies are the largest investors and employers in non-hydrocarbon sectors in Algeria. We will endeavor to increase these investments even more. We are also pleased with Algeria's investments in our country.
The evolving relationship between Algeria and Turkey reaches a new heights as leaders engage in strategic discussions, marked by the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's recent official visit to Algeria.
In the continuum of Algeria-Turkey relations, leaders actively pursue avenues to strengthen existing cooperation, expanding opportunities for mutual development. Erdogan's visit underscores the momentum gained in bilateral relations, elevating them to a strategic level, both politically and economically. The meeting in the Algerian capital reflects a shared vision in response to regional and international developments, emphasizing the Palestinian issue and the atrocities in Gaza. Algeria and Turkey align their positions condemning Zionist massacres and supporting Palestinian rights, displaying a clear and robust stance. Analysts observe a high level of rapprochement between the leaders, exerting collective pressure on the international community to intervene and cease the aggression in Gaza. The partnership represents a consensus between a potent Middle Eastern country and a North African nation, leveraging their influence to address shared interests in regions such as Libya and the Sahel. Transitioning from political consensus to economic collaboration, 13 agreements across various domains were signed during the Joint Economic Cooperation Council's second session. Algeria's president reveals a trade volume of $6 billion for 2023, with a medium-term goal of reaching $10 billion. This collaboration positions Algeria as Turkey's second trading partner in Africa, and Turkey emerged as the primary foreign investor beyond the hydrocarbons sector in Algeria. This flourishing relationship, evident in previous meetings and visits, signifies a transition of shared political will and historical ties between Algeria and Turkey. The memory of the unity and human solidarity, particularly during the devastating earthquake in southern Turkey, resonates in the hearts and minds of both nations.
And on this matter, we have previously talked to Mr. Saifuddin Kadesh, an economy geopolitics journalist, about Gaza situation and the shared point between Ankara and Algeria on this point, and he had this to say.
Of course, the two countries have international right that enables them to play a major role in defending Palestinian blood in the face of the Israeli crimes and war of annihilation. I believe that the unification of the position of Algeria, Turkey, and many other Islamic countries before the International Criminal Court can put strong pressure on the international community, especially since this court took measures against the Russian President Vladimir Putin, although his country is not a member of the International Criminal Court. On the other side, Algeria and Turkey also have economic cards and strategic weight and common interests with Western countries, and they, in one way or another, can contribute to exerting material or moral pressure in their positions regarding the Palestinian issue, especially with the erosion of international support for the Zionist entity's narrative about self-defense.
Mr. Saifuddin also talked about the Algerian and Turkish reinforced and boosted relations, particularly in the economic field, and he had this to say.
The two countries are also working to develop the energy and agricultural aspects. So they had signed a new contract to increase the supply of gas to Turkey from 4 to 5 billion cubic meters between the Algerian company Sonatrach and the Turkish company Potash. There is also a petrochemical factory for the production of polypropylene in the Turkish province of Ceyhan between both Sonatrach and Renaissance Holdings. In addition, the two countries worked together to establish a new company for hydrocarbon prospecting and exploration. And there is a trend to develop renewable energies and efforts to develop mining. In the agricultural side, Turkey had decided to open an agricultural bank here in Algeria, and there are many Turkish investments in the agricultural sector, especially with the government's tendency to limit imports.
And with this call with Mr. Saifuddin, we close the chapter of Gaza Strip. After weeks of attacks which racked and tortured citizens from North Gaza to its south, the misery of the people of Gaza has doubled, and the arrival of winter and rainy season worsens the situation for Gazans. More in this report.
Lining up, this boy waits for a bowl of lentil soup to keep his body warm in this cold weather and harsh conditions imposed by the Zionist aggression.
Lentil soup used to be the most affordable dish, but it's not available now. It's rare to find this food and cook it for people.
In Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, displaced Palestinians are waiting to get a meal which will sustain them for the next day while remaining determined in their opposition to the occupation. Volunteers are preparing the traditional Palestinian dish to serve it to displaced Gazans who survived the war but not the hunger and the cold.
People's condition is sad. It's sad. Actually, when it rained, no one was safe in his tent. The rain and cold have reached everyone, especially those with children. Because of this, volunteers started to think about serving lentil soup. The winter plate that can warm people. Adding to this, there are no food supplies. Even the ones that we can get don't think that we get it easily. No, it's not easy to get. Even the salt is hard to get.
With the country prone to be affected by rain and snow throughout the winter, the situation is expected to exacerbate for Palestinians who already have no access to food, water, or electricity, and who are seeking shelter in tents barely keeping the cold and rain out. 2/3 of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced, with thousands still moving south, hunger and diseases threatening them on top of the ongoing Zionist attacks.
Palestinian media office in Gaza said that Palestinian death toll in Gaza Strip has surpassed 14,000 since the start of the Zionist aggression against the Gaza Strip. Ismail Taubata, Director General of Media Office, said that among the dead were 5,840 children and 3,920 women. Taubata said that the number of missing persons has surpassed 6,800, including 4,500 children and women, under the rubble of buildings destroyed in the Zionist attacks. The head of the political bureau of Islamic resistance, Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, said that Hamas officials are approaching a truce agreement with the Zionist occupation after 46 days of the ongoing Zionist genocide on Gaza Strip. Haniyeh explained in a press statement on Tuesday that Hamas movement had delivered its response to Qatari mediator in the ongoing talks regarding the truce agreement without revealing other details about it, which Qatar will announce in the oncoming hours, according to the statement. In a different matter now, at least 15 people, mainly civilians, were killed in simultaneous and synchronous attacks in Dipaga, the main town of eastern Chupao province in Burkina Faso. Security and local sources said on Tuesday. The spokesperson for regional civil society organization confirmed that the information, adding that schools, markets and public services were suspended in the region on Tuesday in honor of the victims, who were buried on Sunday in the Pagma Municipal Cemetery. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday met with President of Tajikistan Emomali Rahmon in Moscow. Russian President said he discussed security issues in Central Asia and talked with his Tajik counterpart. Mr. Putin added that the talks in general focus on discussing pressing regional and global issues. With this intel, we reach the end of our news bulletin. Thank you so much for taking part with us in this late hour. For more updates, you can follow our social media platform. And all I can say, at the end, take care of yourself and good night.